So I'm on a bike ride right now because my brain was getting a little overheated, and I thought this kind of tied into the self-care video from yesterday. And apologies in advance if the audio isn't great. I'm in the process of getting a microphone for outside of my house, but hasn't come yet. But, I am the kind of person who my brain just does not shut off. And I've noticed that instead of trying to make my brain fit into this model of what I think it should be, I instead try to work with it. So, for example, in the morning, I don't have any contact with any platforms or email or just external forms of communication, basically, whether I'm actually communicating with someone or if I'm reading or watching something. I don't participate in any of that until around 11 a.m. Before that, it is my quiet time, and I have gotten very good in the past couple months of actually sticking to that. Previously, I would tell myself, oh, it will be okay, you'll be able to gather yourself, just check your emails, or just watch this YouTube video or read the Substack article or whatever it is. And just through years of basically sabotaging my ability to focus and just be more at peace without external stimulus. Whenever I used to do that, chaos, entropy was introduced in the beginning of the day, and it felt nearly impossible to come back from that. And after I started doing the only checking stuff at 11, it gives me some sort of space in the morning to actually think clearly and quietly, to hear the inner voice, not just my mind talking, but the voice from deeper than that. But especially these days when I'm getting excited about stuff, let's be honest, that's most of the time, but I can feel myself when I start going down rabbit holes after that 11 a.m. timeline, it gets really chaotic in my brain. I have a brain that as soon as an idea is presented, it will just extrapolate it out into the future to this grand vision that will take years to complete and all this stuff. And that is a gift, I understand, but it also feels like a curse at times, because it's very easy to get very overwhelmed and sidetracked with what my mind is coming up with and imagining. But anyways, I find that that is even worse when I am letting external inputs, especially in the form of content and communication, into my mind early in the morning. So anyways, the first point that I'm trying to make is that if you have a similar situation where your mind just, as soon as a certain amount of information is put into it, starts to be chaotic and hard to rein in, number one, I would suggest waiting till sometime in the late morning, if possible, before you even allow that kind of stuff to happen. I understand that's not possible for everybody, but if you're in a position to do that or work towards that, it's definitely very helpful. But inevitably, you do have to, communicate with people or look at stuff online or whatever that is. And that's the second part that I want to discuss. Today, for example, I've been really excited about this website that I've been working on I haven't actually touched it in a few months, but I launched it in December. and it's all about printmaking. And I got really obsessed with it during Christmas while I was taking a break from it, and basically kind of just let it sit there to see what happened. And turns out it's getting a lot of traffic from Google and all the other search engines at this point, which is super exciting. And I even had someone reach out asking me to put them on my mailing list, which doesn't even exist yet. But the fact that someone's reaching out asking to receive emails feels like a sign. But anyways, I have gotten really excited about that project again, and I'm also excited about this project, the YouTube stuff I'm doing now. And it's very easy to like go back and forth between these two things, like the YouTube and the printmaking, and just like get really in my head about like all these things I could do with the printmaking site and all these things I can do with this content, while also realizing that there's like other things I need to do also, and I can't spend all my waking hours on these projects. Like I have, you know, a life to live and chores to do and money to make and all of this stuff. And anyways, I just had another situation today where I got really in my head, just all over the place, to the point where I couldn't even think anymore, and trying to write stuff down, it was just distracting. And it's just like ping pong effect, where I can't seem to focus on anything. And that I've realized now at this time in my life finally is a sign to step away. Like step away from the computer, go touch grass, and like give myself some time to like process stuff in the background. I think it's really easy for us to rely on our conscious mental processes to figure out all these things that, you know, we're cycling through in our brains, but I cannot express the amount of like clear ideas and answers to questions I've been asking that have come by riding on my bike or playing basketball or taking a shower or walking around. And of course this is backed by science, but it's not something that I was allowing myself time to do. Like before, I would just feel like I had to push through it and keep going, and if I just keep forcing this, I'll figure it out. But you know, that doesn't actually help, and it just makes you anxious and less likely to come up with solutions, especially creative solutions to problems, and especially long-term problems that you're working through. And so this is one of the things I, you know, was talking about with the self-care, is like, how do you take care of yourself, especially when you have like an overactive brain? And one of those is to like get out of the situation, like remove yourself and go do something different. Bonus points if it's some sort of physical activity that your body is engaged in, because it kind of pulls you out of your mind. It is kind of crazy how much it makes a difference, and frankly I was in hardcore denial about that for a long time, because I'm not historically someone who, you know, goes out of their way to like work out or move my body and everything. But the more I did it, the more I'm like, fuck, this actually works. And at some point I just have to accept it. But I don't know, it's either that or choose to continue to be overwhelmed and overstimulated sitting at my desk at home, like, and you know, making these videos and like researching these types of like topics over the past over a decade at this point. Like, these are the types of activities that I was avoiding for the longest time, and one of the reasons why I always felt so anxious. Not the only reason, but one of them. And so again, if you have like a similar kind of brain, or just need to be able to take a break and like actually shut it off at times, I highly suggest, you know, picking a time. You can work up to it. Like if you're checking your emails as soon as you wake up at 6, maybe do it at 7, and then work your way up till like 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever you want to do. And same thing with social media, especially. But, you know, when you actually do have to interact with the day and all of the content and communication that is a part of that, if you are able to, when you can sense you're starting to like go into that overdrive state, remove yourself, and like it doesn't have to be long, like 10, 20, 30 minutes even. Like walk around, go play basketball, I don't know, whatever you like doing, and just kind of allow yourself to reset. If breathing works for you, that's cool too, but I found that actually physically moving my body is the answer. So that's all I have for today. I'm sending you all the good vibes, and hope you have a good one. Bye-bye.